Thank you. So welcome everyone. So we are going to start lying on our backs tonight. So I'll invite you to lie on your back with your knees bent. Make sure that you've got enough space around you to the sides of you so that we can take the arms wide. So if we need to, we can take the knees from one side to the other. So make any little adjustments that you need to just to find that space. It's lovely to practice at home, but sometimes you're going to go, oh, hang on a minute, there's a radiator in the way. That's usually my case. So take a few moments here just to find your centre. Turning the palms up towards the ceiling in a gesture of receptivity. And you're in a safe, protected space, so don't be frightened to take the arms a little bit wider. Give yourself some space around the side of the rib cage. You might want to step the feet a little wider apart, just to feel a bit more support through the back of the hips. If in this position you feel as though there's any tension in the lower back, it sometimes feels nice to just let the knees roll towards one another. So just adjust, find the position where you feel best supported, and allow all of the muscles in the body to fully release and relax. Rest the tongue in the well of the mouth. Relax the eyebrows. Soften the cheekbones. Feel the muscles of the face become heavy and released. A sense perhaps of the weight of your ears drawing you a little deeper into the earth. The back of the head cradled here. The back of the neck soft and released. A sense that you're resting on the flats of the shoulder blades. So making sure that the weight of your shoulders is fully released. You feel wide through the collarbones, through the chest. You perhaps visualise all the muscles between each individual rib. Release, let go. The wide muscles of the back, softening and releasing their grip on your spine. So we reach a sense of the whole body feeling soft, heavy, and completely released. We've allowed the knees to be softly bent, so there should be no distraction from the lower back. As we unclench the buttocks, relax the thighs, and feel the feet become a little heavier. Now just consider for one moment how often in a day you give yourself permission to fully release in this way. We spend so much of our day in flight or fight mode, ready for the next challenge, often with the teeth clenched, with the shoulders raised towards the ears, oftentimes holding tension in the abdomen. Be aware in this softened and relaxed state that you're creating more space for the breath to work more effectively through the full length of the body. We know logically that we breathe in and out using the lungs, but we can visualise the breath travelling down through the length of the body and seeking the parts of the body that may be asking for a little extra attention, a little extra healing. Allow yourself a few moments to linger over those parts of the body where you know you hold on to tension or anxiety. Visualise sending a nourishing, energising breath to that part of the body. Giving ourselves permission to unstick here, to release here. Every out breath, letting go of tension. Every in-breath, seeking to recharge and energize your body. Filling your body with positive energy. Releasing your body of the sticky stuff that just doesn't serve you. Mindfully take a deep breath in through the nose. Slowly release that breath out through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose, and as you come to the out breath, allow that breath to become a little noisier. I want to practice for a few breaths here Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath almost sounds as though you are making the sound of the ocean, a bit like the sound that you make when you pull a shell up towards your ear. Sometimes you can achieve this by almost tightly constricting the back of your throat on the breath out. So you might want to imagine that the out breath, you're trying to fog up a mirror in front of your mouth. So take a deep breath in through the nose. Let's try that noisier breath out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose. Releasing again through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Now let's create a little further control here. Breathe in for your count of 4, 3, 2, and 1. And pause here at the top of the breath. Then exhale for a count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So same count, returning to that Ujjayi breath. Top of the breath, hold for 2. And that noisier exhalation for a count of 6. Repeat in for 4. Hold for 2. And fully exhale. 2 more rounds. Last one. Now let's make our way back slowly. So continue that in breath for 4. Make the out breath for 4. In breath for 4. Less constriction on the throat as you proceed to an exhalation. Find that balance again, breathing in for 4 and out for 4. And allow your breath to return to a natural, easy rhythm, just so that it doesn't feel as though you're forcing breath, counting the breath. Just finding your way back to your body, your space on the mat, your awareness of the space that surrounds you. You might prefer for a moment to just blink the eyes open. And particularly for those of you who don't normally choose to have the knees bent, take a long stretch through the body. So slide the feet along the mat. Inhale to lift both arms overhead, long stretch. Breathing into the sides of the ribcage. Exhaling now to hug the right knee to the chest, placing the hands to the shin. Inhaling to lengthen again, a long full breath through the body. Then exhaling to draw that knee in, either on the shin or behind the thigh, whichever is most comfortable for you. Take a further long stretch through the body. This time let's hook the thumbs together to make an interlock overhead, resting the backs of the hands, ideally an inch from the floor. Recognise that your limitation in the shoulder joints may mean that you are a little bit more of a diagonal. But ideally you want to feel the ears between the upper arms, draw the toes in towards the shins, press through the heels just to create a little extra stretch through the back of the calves, a little tightening through the front of the thighs. Then on the out breath, squeeze the upper body over to the right hand side, opening into that left side of the body. So you can feel this lift through the side of the waist, the ribcage into the underarm. Inhale to return to centre. Let's take a release here as we point through fingers and toes, just lengthening the side of the body once more. Then come back to the interlock, bring the feet back to flexion again. Exhaling to squeeze to the opposite side. So finding that lift, that opening again, as you inhale and return to centre. One further lengthen through the body. Then on the out breath, hug both knees in. Let's draw these knees in, gently rocking from one side to the other. Nice, steady, slow, releasing action across the sacrum. Bring yourself back again to centre. Placing the hands on the knees, drawing little circles with the knees. So we might start with an outward motion so that the circles are travelling in opposite directions. Then change the direction so that we're drawing those circles in towards centre. This starts to gently open up the hips, release the inner thighs. Return the knees again to centre, once more hugging the knees in. This time allowing the lower back to really gently round to the release to the floor. Let's replace both feet on the mat. We'll start with a simple, easy twist, opening the arms into a T-shape, palms turned up towards the ceiling. Try to ensure the back of the head is relaxed here. Just notice if the shoulders have lifted. We want to have a nice release, relaxed, flats of the shoulders on the floor. As we slowly roll both knees to the right side, allowing that left buttock to heel from the floor, but avoiding lifting the left shoulder if we can. Try to keep that beautiful space over the ribcage, over the collarbones. As you inhale, visualise the breath travelling from fingertip to fingertip. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in, roll the knees through centre, and let's take the knees over to the opposite side. So again, we allow ourselves this beautiful opening through the side of the ribcage. Pausing to just get that little extra reach. Then inhaling again from fingertip to fingertip, engaging the core to roll the knees back again to centre. Now step the feet a little wider. It feels as though the feet are resting on the edges of the mat. Soles of the feet are flat rather than being on the balls of the feet. And on the out breath, roll both knees over to the right. Now this time, rather than lifting that left buttock from the floor, let's try to keep the hips square, the shoulders square. Let's enjoy a little bit of extra work through the front of the left hip flexor, through the inside of the right thigh. Once more, visualize the breath from fingertip to fingertip. As you exhale, roll through center, take the knees to the opposite side. Inhale, opening through the heart space. Exhale, rolling the knees to the right once more. Inhale to widen through the upper body. Exhale to just take those knees over to the left. Exhale, engage the core, roll towards center. Once more, we're just going to hug the knees in towards the chest. As we start to put the feet a little wider apart this time, feel free to just imagine that you're tucking the knees almost into the armpits. So it's a slightly wider release. This sometimes creates a little lift in the lower back. Nice way of getting into those tighter muscles here. Now replace both feet in that. Let's have the heels in line with the hips, the insides of the feet parallel. Reset the hands either side of the hips, palms turned up towards the ceiling. We'll just check in again with the flat shoulder blades, so draw the shoulder blades together. Be aware of the control in the core. So remember that with every inhalation, we can feel the chest and the belly expand and widen. With the exhalation, we're drawing the tummy button in and trying to just close that little lift in the lower back. On the next inhalation, let's lift the bottom from the floor as we continue that expansion through the lungs and the belly. On the exhalation, draw the tummy button in, press the shins forward and just try to open a little more deeply into this bridge position. Now I'm going to pause you in this lifted position, continue with the breath, but just check in with those areas that may have just got a little bit comfortable, not working as hard as they ought. Make sure the knees are tracking in line with the hips, pressing the shins forward, activating the thighs to open towards the ceiling, lifting the sternum up towards the chin. So there's a real feel of a stretch and lengthen through the front of the body. Inhaling now to lift both arms overhead. You can travel as far as it's comfortable for you. It may be you can get the backs of the hands all the way to the floor. Once more, make sure those knees haven't rolled out. So we're pressing the shins forward, lifting the thighs higher, squeezing the buttocks down. Rolling onto the ball of the right foot as you lift the right heel, pressing the ball of the foot to the floor. Keep those buttocks squeezed tightly. A little bit of work for the glutes this evening. Replace that heel. Same action, lifting the left heel, pushing into the ball of the left foot. Keeping track that those knees don't drift apart. Then lower that heel to the floor. Lift both heels, push into the balls of the feet. Keep lifting through the hip flexors, through the thighs, opening through the chest. Now as you exhale, keep the heels lifted, start at the space between the shoulder blades and slowly roll down through the spine. Take it vertebra by vertebra, no rush. There comes a point where there's almost a compromise. Do you lift the shoulders? Do you lift the feet? Let's draw the heels to the floor, support the lower back. Gently bring the lower back, buttocks to the floor. Then on the out breath, hug both knees in. Your choice again, whether the hands are behind the thigh or onto the shins. Again, with hands on knees, let's draw a little figure of 8 above the hips. So that massaging action across the sacrum almost feels as though you're drawing a figure 8 here. Return again to centre. Let's keep those knees tracking in line with the hips. So the knees are up above the hips, the heels are in line with the knees, toes pointing up towards the ceiling. So if you had a yoga break, you might be able to just position that between your thighs. That's the kind of gap that we're looking for here, rather than resting the knees together. Keep the back of the head rested. Again, be mindful of the breath. So with the inhalation, we're filling the lungs and the belly. With the exhalation, we're working hard to draw the tummy button in and push the lower back to the floor. Let's bring the arms into play. So wrists directly above the shoulders. So we're creating an upside down table position. Remember, with every inhalation, we're widening through the chest, we're softening the shoulders to the floor. With every exhalation, we're drawing the tummy button in, supporting those little fragile muscles in the lower back. On the next exhalation, keep that core engagement. Slide the right heel forward. Bring that heel to rest an inch from the floor. So the right leg is long, the left knee is bent, 90-degree angles all round. Inhale to widen through the chest. Exhale to engage the core. Slide that right knee back up to that centre position. On the out breath, keep the core engagement to support the back as you slide the left heel forward, resting that heel, should I say, an inch from the floor. So you can feel the erector spinae muscles working hard to keep the spine stabilised. You can feel the core muscles working hard. On the out breath, engage the core, bring the knees back to centre. Make sure those flaps of the shoulder blades again are resting to the floor, no tension. Unclench the jaw. On the out breath, take the right arm back. Rest that thumb an inch from the floor. If you need to take a little extra space, you might want to just widen the arm. And on the out breath, engage the core, bring that arm back to centre. As you exhale, repeat on the opposite side. So the thumb is an inch from the floor. Wide through the chest. Try to keep those heels up so that you create a 90-degree angle at the knees. I can see there's a little bit of droopiness happening. Not that I would comment on your droopiness. Then bring that arm back again. So now we're going to do opposite hand, opposite leg. So we started this upside down table position. On the exhale, let's extend the right heel forward, the left arm back, resting the heel and the thumb an inch from the floor. Little countdown, 3, 2, 1. Then draw the knee and the arm back to centre. Opposite hand, opposite leg. Make sure that the heel comes all the way to an inch from the floor. Someone's working at your coordination. Keep the core engaged. And bring that back to centre. Hug the knees in towards the chest. I'm just going to roll up into a seated position. You can just put your hands up. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how intense did you find that? You can stay where you are, because you're doing more of them. 4, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4, 4. I'll take the 4, because that means we've still got a wee bit to go. Excellent, that's the number I was looking for. Cool. Back in that position again. So upside down table. So same action as we did before. This time, as you extend the right leg and take the left arm back, we're going to pause again that inch from the floor. Then we're just going to have a little pulse here. So the little pulse means that you're lifting the heel and the hand no more than an inch or so. So the pulse goes 3, 2, 1, hold it there, and repeat, 3, 2, 1, hold it there. One more time, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Bring that knee to centre. Let's transition to the opposite side. If the lower back is giving you grief, just draw the knees a little bit closer for this next one. As you extend the left heel forward, take the right arm back. Keep that focus on drawing the tummy button in. Little pulse, 3, 2, 1. And again, 3, 2, 1. Last time, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Draw that knee up and hug the knees to the chest. Oh, that's the best hug yet, isn't it? Now let's widen the arms again into that T shape. From this bent knee position, exhale to roll both knees to the right. So straight away the bottom will peel from the floor, the hips will stack one on top of the other. Again, we just want to keep that cheeky left shoulder down. So take your gaze along the length of the left arm. Allow the shoulders to relax and release. Breathe into that left side of the ribcage. Then as you exhale, engage the core, roll the knees through centre. You guessed it, all the way to the opposite side. So keeping the shoulders equally weighted is key. We want to allow that lift, that stretch, that twist in the middle back. Turning the head over the opposite arm is always really helpful. Just keep that shoulder weighted. There's an extra stretch through the side of the pectoral muscles. Inhale to widen through the chest. Exhale, draw the tummy button in. Roll the knees back through centre. Beautiful. One more time, replace the feet to the mat. And because I've had you on your back for quite some time, we're just going to take our time to roll to the left-hand side. Just pause there in the left-hand side, and then bring yourself back to a seated position. This is where I get to check that you're actually all still with me. Because quite often you go off the screen when we do that kind of work. Good. Let's come to a cross-legged position. So come into a comfortable cross-legged position, stacking either the ankles on top of one another or one foot in front of the other. You start with the side that's comfortable for you. We'll be doing both sides. Place the hands onto the knees. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in and visualise again that you're pulling and curling the spine towards the back of the room. So we're rounding through the back, nodding the chin to the chest. As you inhale, you're making the opposite shape. So you're lifting the sternum forward, curving the lower back. Let's avoid looking too keenly up towards the ceiling. That can often put strain on the neck. Just turn your eyes up. As you exhale, roll through the spine. As you inhale, lift and open. Beautiful. Then on the out breath, settle yourself back into a neutral spine position. So you can feel the back of the head lining up with the back of the tailbone. You can feel that there's length and height in the upper body. So you're lifting the ribcage off the belly. Bring the right hand to rest behind the right hip. Bring the left hand to rest on the right knee. So straight away this sort of starts to pull the shoulders round. Let's just avoid falling into that natural twist. Lift up out of the sit bones. Follow the side of the right ribcage as you come into a half twist and then into a full twist. Comfortably just drawing your gaze over that shoulder. You're not an owl, so you don't have to turn the head 180 degrees. Let's be a little bit more dynamic here. So as you inhale, push into the palms, lift out of the sit bones, lift the arms overhead, creating a Y shape. Pressing through the fingertips, drawing the sit bones down to the floor, actively drawing the tummy buttons in. So the palms are facing in towards one another rather than the front of the room. Beautiful. Press through the fingertips, draw the sit bones down, lengthen more into the side of the body. Nice. Let's bring opposite hand to opposite knee. Inhale to lift up. Follow now the left side of the rib cage. You're coming to the first part of the twist. You might want to adjust here to draw the shoulder blades together so that you can continue through that full range of movement. Lifting and lengthening again out of the sit bones. Then as you exhale, release the hand from the knee. Bring both hands to just tip in front of the ankle. So intention here is to keep the sit bones on the floor as you lift up, as you on the inhalation. On the exhalation, you start to gently bring the upper body forward. So you're coming into a natural diagonal line here. The key here is to avoid curving through the spine. So I quite like my focus to be bringing the elbows towards the floor. It helps me focus on keeping a diagonal. I think if we're in a rush to bring the head down, that can often create curvature in the upper spine that we just want to avoid. Exhale to come a little deeper into this space. Some of us are more flexible in the hips and the hamstrings. It may be that a more comfortable position for you is to stack one fist on top of the other and bring the forehead to rest here. If that is not within your toolkit, you're fine where you are. Just keep that weight onto the forearms, keep lengthening the sternum forward. And as you exhale, engage the core. Bring the palms back to the floor if you're in the one potato, two potato, and then walk the hands back towards the ankles as you lift back to centre. Beautiful. Let's switch over to the opposite side, so we're crossing over the opposite foot. It would be a nighttime class for me if I wasn't taking cramp in one of my feet. So if you see me doing this like mad dancing dog thing, that's what I'm doing, getting rid of the cramp. Lift up and lengthen. Let's bring the hands to shoulder height here. So initially we want to be pressing through the fingers, but we want to be drawing the shoulder blades together so it kind of feels like a bit of a push and pull scenario. Inhaling to lift out the sit bones, so there's length in the spine. Exhaling to draw the tummy button in. So it feels very dynamic around where, if you imagine you have a corset, you're working very hard in that area. Now bring the palms together. Let's start with right forefinger to the top of left. Coming into an interlock, opening the palms towards the heart. Check in at this point that the elbows are soft because it does make life easier. Then turn the hands inside out. Keep those elbows soft as on an inhalation, you start to breathe the hands up towards the ceiling. With every out-breath, you might be able to soften the shoulders. With every in-breath, create more space through the chest. Exhaling to keep that weight into the sit bones. Inhaling to lengthen, pressing the palms towards the ceiling. On the next exhalation, keep the core engaged. Bring the hands back towards the heart. Turn the hands in towards the heart again. Lovely. Now bring the hands behind, creating an interlock. Can be in an interlock, put left forefinger to the top, just so that it feels different. Shoulder blades drawn together. So as soon as we get into this position, if we have tightness, particularly in the pectoral muscles, chances are that we start to lean forward. Let's see if we can keep that alignment. So back of the head lining up with the tailbone, tummy button drawn in. Exhale, squeeze the hands away from the lower back. So you're drawing that interlock up towards the middle back. I can see a few jutting chins here. You can talk better than that. Let's keep those chins retracted. Underside of the chin parallel to the floor. We might have a little more space. Let's try for a little more opening through the chest. Then as you exhale, Release. Beautiful. Place both hands behind the hips. So action one here, and I'll just point out this is very normal that our arms aren't quite long enough to reach the floor. So rather than getting the palms to the floor, you can just take up the fingertips. Try not to press into the fingers, we don't want any tension. As you inhale, feel as though you're lifting out the sit bones, lifting out the fingertips, lifting the sternum, and again, drawing the gaze up, but not so high that we're dropping the head back. Beautiful. So the action is less about looking at the ceiling, it's more about opening the chest, opening the sternum. Bring your gaze to face forward again. Let's take the hands a little further back so that we can feel as though we're leaning into the hands. You might want to widen them a little bit further, keep those elbows soft. Press the shins forward, lift the bottom from the floor and open through the chest. So there's an opening through the hip flexors, through the front of the thighs. Beautiful. As you exhale, release the sit bones to the floor. As you inhale, lift again to centre. Nicely done. Let's take the legs wide. So come into a comfortable wide leg. So generally for most people that will mean that the feet are a little bit wider than the shoulders. We all work to our own tolerance. In this position, it's important to notice if you roll back onto the tailbone, that's no good because it really restricts all the movement in the pelvis. So you really want to set an intention that you've lifted out of the sit bones. There's a little bit of mobility here on top of the hips. Avoid where you can locking the knees out, so a little slack behind the knees. And we'll just repeat that action we did earlier where we use the hands to help guide us forward. Keeping a diagonal line set from the back of the head to the tailbone. Inhaling to lift the chest. Exhaling to ease. Beautiful. Keeping the hands in front of you can sometimes feel a little restricting. So let's position the hands onto the legs. It doesn't matter where they land. It might be the knees, it might be the shins, it might be the ankles. My focus tonight is going to be to bring the hands to the tops of the toes. Yours might be to bring the hands around the soles of the feet, or it might just be to rest on the ankles as you focus on the exhale to gently start to bring the shoulders parallel to the floor. I will remind you that curving the spine isn't really helping in this posture, so it's better to keep the sternum lifted and really feel this through either the hamstrings or the inner thighs. We'll all feel it slightly differently. Then reposition the hands under the shoulders, that just creates a little bit of stability. Engage the core, push in through the palms and walk the hands back again towards centre. Beautiful. Soles of the feet together will be more comfortable now to do Baddha Konasana. So my preference is to rest the hands around the toes. Again, your comfort might be here on the ankles. It's just personal, it doesn't matter where you go. Work with the out breath to slacken the knees, to widen the inner thighs. Work with the in breath to lift again. On the exhale, we're mindfully again drawing the sternum forward. And it's rare, but you might want to keep working through this range of movement to bring the chest all the way to the feet. I say it's rare because I've never seen it, and I've never done it, and I never will. Know your limitations. Think again about your Ujjayi breath in this posture. So inhaling to fill the lungs, fill the belly. Exhaling, make that noisier breath. Inhale, fill the lungs, fill the belly. This time we'll use the exhalation to draw the tummy button in and lift ourselves back to centre so that we know that the spine is supported. Beautiful. Take hold of the right foot. So it doesn't matter whether the hands are around the toes or if you're fancy, index finger, middle finger around the big toe and press through the heel. So chances are your weight will push you over to one side. Let's again find that centre. So core engagement, equally weighted through the sit bones. I prefer to take the opposite hand away. It stops me from leaning forward, lifting through the sternum. As you exhale, keep the core engaged, bring that heel in. Switch over, do the same on the other side. I've got funky toe socks on tonight, so grabbing the toes is proving a little bit more challenging. Press through the heel, keep lifting, and bring both feet together. You know where you're going, strap in, both heels. Core engagement is key, not rolling onto the sit bone is a bit. Sorry, I'm laughing here because I've got Joe with me in the room. We should just have a little tumble, just to demonstrate to us. And when you're ready, bring the soles of the feet together. Perfect. Let's one more time lift up and lengthen, and then exhale forward into that Baddha Konasana. Keep the core engaged, inhale, lift to centre. Bring the knees together and just slide the feet forward. Perfect. So I'm going to get you to come up onto your feet now, so take your time, because when you've been on the floor for a while, it can make you a little bit dizzy. It's actually quite warm in this room. Am I alone in that judgment? Do you think it's warm? It's quite warm. So I'm feeling a little bit like flushed. Beautiful. So can you just check that you have sufficient space that we can work with the mat wide? Don't worry about me seeing you dead on, but just as long as you've got space to work with the mat wide, and that when we do work wide, that you won't push something with your bottom that you ought not to knock over. I.e., please remove the priceless crystal vase out of the way. So take the feet a little bit wider than shoulder width distance apart. Insides of the feet parallel, knees nice and soft. And we're just going to find our way through this. There's no big rush. So hands on the hips to start. As you exhale, come to a 90-degree angle. So the back of the head lining up with the back of the tailbone, the shoulder blades drawing together. Because I've got you here, I'm going to bring you back to that seated position you did, where we did the interlock behind the back. So come back into your interlock. We did left forefinger last time, so let's put the right forefinger to the top. A little tip is to draw the shoulder blades together first, because it clears the space across the chest. Then as you exhale, start to lift the arms up. On the next exhalation, you might want to come through the 90-degree angle and just keep travelling those arms up. There's no real end destination. When you feel that you're getting a stretch, then you're doing the work. As you exhale, lower the hands. Take a little bend in the knees. The head has been upside down, so place the hands to the hips. Keep the core engaged. Inhale to lift up. And bring the head up last. Beautiful. Turn the right toe away. So if we were being really perfect about this, when you look down at that front heel, it should line up halfway along the back foot. So you're kind of setting a bit of a, what do you call that, T-square? Is that the right word? I'll look to the teachers in the room and they go, yeah, that's about right. So notice, and I'm demonstrating this beautifully here, as soon as you do that action, the hips want to follow and they want to go in that direction. Let's try, if we can, to bring the hips to face forward. Now for some of us that creates a little bit of tension in the knee, so don't be worried about keeping the knee soft, that won't matter for now. Just keep that focus of bringing the head legs to face forward. If you watch Strictly, they talk a lot about that, don't they? Hips and shoulders, head legs always facing forward. Now let's see what happens if we try to just take that little bit of bend out of the knee. So we've got a nice long front leg, soft but not bent. Then float the arms up. So the palms are facing down, we're creating a straight line from fingertip to fingertip. We're making sure that that left hip doesn't sneak forward, so just keep tucking that left hip back. Beautiful. Visualise that with this hand, I think it's your right, we're reaching away. Then on the inhale, we're lifting the top hand up, lowering the bottom hand down. And I don't want to see anyone going all the way, because I can see that there's a little bit of compromise here in technique. So let's first of all get that left hip back, roll that left shoulder open, sorry. Keep that nice front leg nice and long. Then on the out breath, just find if there's any more space to reach. It's not a competition. Drawing the shoulder blade together. Then inhaling to lift, come back to centre. Beautiful. So we'll do same but a little bit different. We'll come back to that bend in the knee. You can see this really clearly in the room. That's probably not showing up on the film. I don't know what you thought of the video, I don't know. But my knee now has completely collapsed in, completely rolled in. So I'm just going to take a moment to find the knee rolled over the second toe. And I know that for my comfort, I like to be a little bit wider in this posture. So I'm just going to take that back foot back. Make sure this left hip again doesn't collapse forward or open. Nice. Use the forearm to rest onto the front thigh, so you're kind of not thinking about it. Keep that left hip open, lift that top arm up, and then on the out breath, bringing that top arm over just until it lines up with the ear. Keep pressing through the fingertip. Beautiful. So we're getting a delicious length from the heel through the side of the waist, through the side of the rib cage, into the length of the arm. Nice. Engage the core. Inhale, lift. Come back to centre. Beautiful. Let's see if you can remember that for the other side. So we're bringing now the right foot to be the stopper. That one's coming back to be parallel. The left one is turning away. We might just need to sniggle the heel in a bit so that we find that T shape again. Remind ourselves about that hip. We slacken the knee just to give us a little bit of space. Float the arms up. Then straighten the knee. Beautiful. So the first one is triangle pose, Trikonasana. So we're leaning, or I hate the word lean, extending over. Then you can lower this hand, lift the top hand up. It's always worth having a check-in here that the hip hasn't rolled forward, that the shoulders remain back. Then as you exhale, ease a little bit more deeply into this. As I say, there's no real kind of right or wrong. It's where your body feels comfortable. Then keep the core engaged. Inhale to lift. Lower the arm down. Super. Let's have that knee into a bend now. So we're rolling the knee over the second toe, hugging that hip back. And then the easy action is just to lean onto that front thigh. Remember, the lean always comes with a little bit of compromise, a little bit of weight. So roll shoulder open and extend and lengthen the arm overhead again. Beautiful. So just watch for fists. Let me have a nice little soft finger wave with that hand that's rested on the thigh. Beautiful. Then inhale, lift. Come back to centre. Fabulous. Turn both toes to face forward again. Hands on hips. Exhale, 90-degree angle once more. Nicely done. On the out breath, bring the fingertips towards the floor. Now, if you know that it is not within your gift to be able to do this forward fold, you might prefer to have something that you can reach for, whether it's a yoga brick or whether it's a book or a bolster. Ideally something firm, something soft that might just roll away or give way. My little tip from the top on this one is that if you walk the hands forward, It takes the tension away from the hamstrings. Now that's quite a personal hack. The hamstrings is where I don't want to feel it because they're tight. I don't really mind feeling it in the inner thighs, but if you don't like it in the inner thighs, that's probably not going to help you. And then we're just going to work with the breath. Exhaling to bring the elbows towards the floor, bringing the top of the head parallel to the floor. Inhaling now to lift the tailbone, and that just intensifies that stretch to the back of the legs. Work with the breath here, using every exhalation to just come a little more deeply into this point of comfort for you. Beautiful. Another little personal tip of mine is to take the feet wider because it does help to keep the knees bent. Don't reveal, don't straighten the legs. And just take a good old look at what's going on. Beautiful. Some lovely technique there. There's some of you right down onto the forearms, which is beautiful to see. Perfect. So again, I'm going to remind you, we've been upside down for a while, so we never rush this. So particularly for those of you who are on the forearms, let's first of all bring the hands under the shoulders. Then we're just going to walk the hands a little bit closer in towards the body. You might want to just lift up onto the fingertips, so there's just a sense of being supported but not held up. I think it's a really good idea at this point to bend the knees, even if it feels like a big old dirty squat. Walk the hands onto the thighs, but keep looking down at the floor. Inhale to widen through the chest, exhale to engage the core, push into the thighs, keep looking down at the floor as you lift the upper body. Keep looking down at the floor for a moment. And when you're ready, lift the head so that the underside of the chin is parallel to the floor. And on the out breath, core engaged, jump the feet together. Yay! Still got a bit of energy in this. Brilliant. So, feet now simply hip width apart. I've got wide hips, which is why my feet got a little bit of gap between them, but let's not pay attention to that. And soften the knees. Hands on the hips. And then just gently, just lift the hips from one side to the other. All I'm doing here is just finding that little space in the lower back. It can feel a little bit weird because we're usually tighter on one side than the other, so when we do a forward fold it feels a bit odd. And then just change that action into drawing a figure of 8 with the hips. And notice that you can use the knees as much as you want, but you want to really get the pelvis and that space behind the hips nice and juicy. Beautiful work. Then come back again to centre. Lovely. So you're actually going to do your final Shavasana in a standing position tonight. So your choice, whether you stand in a kind of strict Tadasana pose, or whether it just feels a little bit more comfortable for you to take your feet a little bit wider. I often find, especially at the end of the day, if you are a little bit dehydrated, if you feel a bit tired, then sometimes balance can be a little bit of a challenge. So don't make it hard for yourself. Let's allow the hands to rest down by your side. Inhale to squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. As you exhale, shrug the shoulders down. Inhale, lift the shoulders up. This time on the exhale, a little more control as you roll the shoulders back and down. So let's see that articulation of rolling through the shoulders. Oh, I love that creaking and groaning that happens behind the neck when you do this. Makes you feel like you're proper releasing some tension. On this next one, just let the shoulders become heavy. And again, you can just rest the hands. If you want to touch the thighs, that's fine. Think about the underside of the chin remaining parallel to the floor. If you feel the chin tipping up, chances are it will knock you off your balance and you will roll back. So try to keep that alignment. If you're happy to do so, close the eyes. If closing the eyes knocks your balance, then just sort of knock your focus out. Look ahead, but let it go a little bit blurry. Now bring your awareness again to the breath. So it's a totally different ball game. breathing in a standing position than when you're lying down. It takes a lot more effort. So let's take our time to visualise inhaling through the chest and collarbones, exhaling to draw the tummy button in. Inhaling to widen and expand. Exhaling to help you find your balance, your centre. Now turn your full attention back to the top of your head. Feel the top of your head parallel to the ceiling. It doesn't matter if you feel that you start to sway a little in this posture. It's just energy charging through your body. Soften the eyebrows, soften the cheekbones, unclench the jaw. Once more, be mindful of relaxing the tongue and the well of the mouth. If the tongue is stuck to the roof of the mouth, we're holding tension that we really don't need. Return your full focus to the breath. And for now, just notice the sensations of the breath as you breathe in and out through the nose. So coolly in on the breath in. Warm air on the breath out. As you start to deepen the inhalation, feel the breath over the back of the throat. A little release as you exhale. Now this time as you direct the breath in, direct it down into the lungs. So in through the nose, over the throat centre, expanding into the lungs. Exhaling, softening the upper chest, over the throat centre, and down along the length of the nostrils. This next breath wants to be a little deeper, so that we can travel all the way in and down to create a little rise in the belly on the inhale. On the exhale, feel the belly contract as you press that breath up and out through the nose. I want to avoid rabbiting at you while you concentrate and focusing on where to send the breath. Just to check in that it's working, place left hand on heart, place right hand on belly. So with the inhalation, you feel the chest and the belly rise. With the exhalation, you feel the belly soften, the chest soften, and you come to the end of the out breath. Inhaling. And exhaling. Now do 2 further breath rotations. Last set. Nice long, steady exhale. And that doesn't mean you stop breathing. Just make your way back to a natural, easy rhythm. rub your hands in front of your heart, keeping the eyes closed for now. So when we're rubbing the palms together, it's quite a brisk action. For those of us wearing glasses, you might prefer to just pop the glasses on top of your head. You're going to open the palms and place that warmth you've created over the closed eyes. Breathe into that dark space. Blink the eyes open behind the palms. Separate the fingers to start to allow a little light in. And slowly take your time and gently draw the fingertips over the eyebrows. Trace the line, the cheekbones. Draw the line back out to the jaw. Apply a little pressure here with index finger, middle finger, just to gently caress down the length of the jaw. When you reach that point where the upper and lower jaw meet, just have a little massage here, applying pressure. Release the tension there. Then bring the hands to the Anjali Mudra in front of your heart. Make sure that you haven't locked out your knees, so soften, soften. Touch to the head for kind thoughts, to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind intentions. The light in me honours the light in you. Namaste. Joe whispered that in the room. She's very aware of not being on recording. All okay? Yay, good. Thank you very much. Lovely to see you all. Take care, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you. Bye.